बालक के सर पे गुरु हाथ रहे तेरा। गुरु ऐसे विनय दे दे, गुणगान करूं तेरा।
शरणं मम सद्गुरु चरण सदा शरणं। 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 ओम दंड संयुक्तं नित्यं ध्यायन्ति योगिनः कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओंकाराय नमो नमः। In this meeting of WRP, in the pursuit of our further learning, today we are going to talk about prayer and its power. Prayer may be defined as the most universally accepted form of the communication of the devotee with the divine. It is found in all traditions of the world, and it is as old as mankind is. The historical evidence is in consonance with this. The oldest scriptures available in the world today are known as Rig Veda. About 4,500 years back, we find many prayers of the Lord, the Godhead, in Rig Veda. Among the people, among the devotees who approach the divine for the prayer, all sections are included, but in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the Jnana Vijnana Yoga, 4 main types have been described. 4 types of people approach the Lord with prayer. The original verse runs like this: Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritanarjuna arto jignasu artharthi Gnani cha Bharatarshava, meaning thereby those who are in distress, those who want wealth, those who are desirous of wealth, those who are inquisitive, and those who are even the enlightened souls. All these types of people approach the Lord for their further enhancement. There are many things which we find universal in the prayer. First of all, no special materials are required for prayer, and no elaborate technique is also required for prayer. Suppose I am quite illiterate, I am a pauper, I am deaf and dumb, I am downtrodden. Even then I can pray, because my Lord wants nothing else from me. Divine love, untainted by selfishness and falsehood, is all the basic and the essential requirements of prayer. And that is why prayer is the universal instrument for the betterment of the self and for the betterment of the society. As earlier indicated, it is not the monopoly of any religious tradition. In all the continents of the world, in all nationalities, in all religious traditions, in all sects, all races, prayer is the universal medium of communication with the God. Depending upon the spiritual stage of the aspirant, he may take the support of idol or photograph or painting or statue just when he sits before his Ishta Devata or his God. And the approach of the devotee may be monotheistic or polytheistic, or it may be depending upon his inclinations. See, whatever way he progresses in the initial stages, as he climbs the ladder of prayer, the difference is between the formless God and the incarnate God. Because there is often, can we see God with our eyes? He is square or triangle or round? He is tall or short? What types of clothes he puts? And so many questions are put. But these are for the beginners. When we go higher, what do we find? The worshipper, and the worship, all the three unite in one single unit, as described by the great poet. प्रेम गलियति सांकरी तामे दो न समाए, जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं, जब हरि तब मैं नाही. Meaning thereby that the path of love is the narrow one at its peak. When I go to my God, he disappears. And if he appears, I disappear. Meaning thereby that the devotee and the divine become one in the higher ladders of spiritual experience. And that is the goal of prayer. This much for the... Now what are the various forms of prayer available? Three main forms are available. The physical form of prayer, the vocal form of prayer, and the mental form of prayer. Very simple classification. As the name itself suggests, when we go to the place of prayer, whether in our own house or whether in the temple or in the mosque or wherever we may go, we bow our head, we bow our body. If we are still more devoted, especially in India, there is the procedure of doing prostration, sastanga dandavat pranam, prostrating before the Lord. It has got deep meaning. These physical acts are not exercises, because the prayer is done by the soul. This is only the medium which indicates the external, which is the external reflection of the inner devotional love. The various forms of ritual known as puja, where we offer the fruit or rice or lamps before God, all these are also come under the head of physical forms. The second form is the vocal one. This is the most common form of prayer. It may be short when it is known as mantra, aphorism. The whole is a big science, mantra vidya. The very small prayer may be known as aphorism or mantra which is to be repeated either mentally or vocally repeatedly for its benefit on our soul. It may be medium size when it is known as stotra. All the great men, we find the stotras, they have written even after their enlightenment. Maharshi Vyas in Hindu tradition, Srimad Shankaracharya, and Acharya Jinsen, Acharya Hemchandra, all the great masters have written the stotras. Swayambhu Stotra of Samantabhadracharya in the ancient literature. In the relatively modern literature, among the Jain literature, we often recite the Chaturvinshati, Chauvisi, the prayer to the 24 great masters. So that is stotra. An elaborate, very elaborate form includes the puja, the various types of puja, the Siddha Chakra Pujan, the Panch Parameshti Puja, the Dev Shastra Guru Puja, and so forth. Anyway, what is the science behind this vocal prayer or prayer in general? The science behind it is that there is a direct relationship between the devotionally spoken words and its effect on the human mind and the heart. You get my point? शब्द ब्रह्म से पर ब्रह्म का पर ब्रह्म की ओर ट्रैवल करना. Through the medium of the words, we travel towards the Godhood. There is a great spatial power in the words which invoke the highest and the sublime types of emotions and feelings in our life, so that our soul is elevated towards the Godhead. So, that is the second type. The third type is the mental. Mental type of prayer is carried out silently, no bodily movements, no speech. The devotee, through his memory, unites with the God. However, it is not possible for all grades of aspirants to do this because it is a subtle form of prayer. Those who have got good control over their mind, over their senses, and who frequently remember God during the day, they alone can do this type of mental prayer, which we can say is a form of meditation, is a form of contemplation of the divine. Usually the practice during the mental prayer is that one starts with the physical prayer and the vocal prayer gradually passes on as his mind gets steady, as his mind gets pure, he passes into the state of mental prayer or meditation. This much for the form of prayer. Now we pass on next to, depending upon the contents, the intention and the mode of implementation of the prayer, four main varieties may be recognized. The first variety is the praise dominated prayer. The second is the dedicating type of prayers. The third is the confession type of prayers. And the fourth is the community prayer or the mass prayer. We will only be able to go through quickly. The praise dominated prayer are the most common type of prayers. They constitute about 40% of the total available literature on prayer. They are very popular and they are known as positive prayers because what do we do in that prayer? Lord whom we have known, His virtues which we have known, we have learned from our Master. We recite with intense devotion the indescribable form of Lord. So the prayer is joyous, it is uplifting, it is mood elevating, it thrills and fills our entire personality with joy and bliss. That is the result, that should be the fruit of a true prayer, as is described by Anandanandi. चित्त प्रसन्न रे पूजन फल कहो, पूजा अखंडित ते, कपट रहित थई आत्म अर्पण, आनंद घन पद रे, वृषभ जिनेश्वर प्रीतम माहरो. Same Narsimha Mehta says in એ રસનો સ્વાદ શંકર જાણે, કાં જાણે કોઈ શુક જોગી રે, કાંઈ એક જાણે વ્રજની રે ગોપી, ભણે નરસૈયો. The bliss of the devotee when he communicates and again and again repeats with divine love the name and the form and contemplates on the virtues of the Lord. There is no joy higher in the world than is the joy resulting from the direct communication of the divine and the devotee. It's not within the sphere of intellect to understand, appreciate, or within the sphere of speech to describe it. So that is the most common form of prayer, which is known as the praise dominated prayer. Some people argue whether we should contemplate and do the prayer of a form, God with form or God without form. The Jaina tradition has combined both. In the Jain tradition, there are 5 forms of worshipful personalities, of which 4 are with the forms. The Lord with the form, known as Arihanta, and the 3 forms of the preceptor, known as Acharya, Upadhyaya, and Sadhu. And the formless type of prayer, the formless type of deity is known as Siddha, Niranjana Niraka. So, the Jain methodology combines both the incarnate and the formless forms of God. The forms in the praise may be of the external form of God, or it may be in the internal form of God. There are so many forms, I will just quote 1 or 2 and go further. The famous saint, poet Tulsidas, who wrote Ramcharitamanas, has described Lord Rama like this. Shri Ramachandra Krupalu Bhaj Man Haran Bhava Bhaya Darunam Nava Kanja Lochana Kanja Mukha Kar Kanja Pada Kanjarunam, and so forth. While the internal form of God is more difficult to appreciate and understand, that also is described as far as possible here by Gnana Vimarsuri. Prabhu Parangat Parama Mahodaya Avinashi Akalanka Namo Ajaraya Mara Adabhut Atishaya Nidhi Pravachana Jaladhi Mayanka Namo Arihanta Namo Bhagavanta Namo Parameshwara Shri Jinaraj Namo. That much in short for the praise dominated. Next we pass on to the dedicating kind. Well, the path of God realization and prayer is not a very short one. It is a long path, and there are times, there are phases in our sadhana when we find that our progress is slump. Our progress stops. And we find that in spite of making maximum efforts, our mind doesn't become concentrated on God. What to do at that time? There is no other way. The way is to dedicate one's own self. He says, O Lord, I take unilateral, unconditional surrender at your lotus feet. Give me the strength. Give me the faith to remember you and to sing thy glory again and again, so that my mind and my heart may be pure and I may be near and near to you. So that is the dedicating type of prayers. Some people may say here that, well, Jain philosophy does not accept anything like grace of God, and why should we pray? For those people, I will like to mention 4 or 5 important points. That Jaina method also, and all the other methods also accepts the supremacy of such a mode of prayer. Among the 9 types of prayers or devotion, there is Laghuta. Again, when somebody is initiated into the renounced way, we speak Chattari Saranam Pavajjami, Arihante Saranam Pavajjami, Satsiddhe Saranam Pavajjami. We have to take refuge at the lotus feet of the Lord and the enlightened ones. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to make progress. And last, even the Tirthankara, when he takes Diksha, he first says, Om Namah Siddhebhya. Only after praying the Siddha, even the Tirthankara can take to Diksha. This is enough to convince us that prayer and dedication to the divine is important not for people like me and you, but one and all. All the great masters in the world have passed through the stages and have had the opportunity of spiritual survival at the end of it. The famous dedicating stotra is known as, no, we are still with the Bhaktamar stotra. I will only say the last line. Alambanam bhavajale patatam jananam. Alambanam bhavajale patatam jananam. The feet of the Lord is the main support of people like us who are drowning in the ocean of the transmigratory existence. For those who want to go in detail, I will suggest the Alochana part of Johari Lal. It is not very common for the people, but I think I will recite 1 or 2. जो गावपति एक होवे सो भी दुखिया दुख खोवे तुम 3 भुवन के स्वामी दुख मेट हु अंतर जामी द्रौपदी को चीर बढ़ायो सीता प्रति कमल रचायो अंजन से किए अकामी दुख मेट हु अंतर जामी and so forth. The power of prayer is not known to the world, as is not going to be known to the world. The power of prayer will be revealed only to a person who will really pray with all his love and with proper discrimination. If a true devotee prays really, the Lord will have to come to his temple or his worship room. You know, all in the western part of India. एकांत बेसिने आराध मांडे तो अलख पधारे ने द्वार रे मेरु तो डगे पण जैना मन ना डगे रे मेरु तो डगे पण जैना मन ना डगे रे. That is the dedicating type. Now comes The third type, confession type. The life of a true devotee has to be extremely straightforward. We should open the book of our heart and life before the Lord and openly accept all the sins we have done, all the faults that are present, all the shortcomings, all the defilements, and all the sinful activities which we may have done, not only in this life, but in the lives that have passed, and accept His refuge and tell Him, "Oh Lord, I am here. I am here whatever I am." This is very aptly put by Surdas. I think it has got an international acclaim, this poem. It has been translated in most languages of the world. मौसम कौन कुटिल खल कामी जिन तनु दियो ताहि बिसरायो ऐसो निमक हरामी मौसम कौन कुटिल खल कामी. The spiritual guide of of Mahatma Gandhi, Srimad Rajchandra, also in the 56th lesson of Moksha Mala has put it very nicely. He has put it in prose. This is the poetry of it. હું ભૂલ્યો આથડ્યો અને રખડ્યો ભારી આ સંસારે વિભુ વિટંબણા થઈ મારી હું પાપી મદોન્મત કર્મ મલિન નારજથી વિણ તત્વ મોક્ષ મેળવાય નહીં પ્રભુ મુજથી. And so on. The English version reads like this. Oh God, I forgot, wandered aimlessly, rambled here and there, and I am caught in the snare of the transmigratory worldly life. I am sinful, I am intoxicated with pride, and my soul is defiled with the dust of the karmas. I am always engrossed in the machinations of life. I am blinded by ignorance. I have no discriminative power, and I am so blockhead or foolish. And now, the Jain method gives a little details of the various forms of 108 types of sinful ways, which we will take in the next chart. We'll first finish the community or the mass prayer. These are very popular in certain traditions. The Sunday, the Saturday, and the Friday are the usual fixed days for the followers of the Christians, the Jewish, and the Islamic traditions of faith and prayer. These mass prayers or the community prayers are usually done in a particular type of place. So whether it is mosque or it is a temple or it is a church, it is done at fixed timings, usually in fixed dress and under the direction of the preceptor. One thing we should remember, that mass prayer or the community prayer has mostly cultural value, social value, ritual value. It is good to do mass prayers, but those mass prayers which are not complemented by the individual prayers cannot lead us to spiritual welfare. So mass prayer and the individual prayer, both of these should be complemented with each other if we are going to get real spiritual benefit from the prayer. Now we pass on to the next. We are talking about that subtle ways in which we are committing sins, but we don't know that we are committing sins. I know I am also committing sins. You are also committing sins because we have not reached that state in which we are sinless. So this has been very aptly described. There are 108 ways. This has been described. The desire, the material, gathering of the material, and actually acting up to it. These are the three ways. Then with the body, with the speech, with the mind. Doing for oneself, getting it done, and giving approval to those who are doing it. And all these things which may be actuated by anger or pride or deceit or greed. So, 3 into 3 into 3 into 4. The chief 108 ways in which we commit the sins. So the devotee approaches the Lord and he says, "Oh Lord, these are the main 108 ways in which I have committed sins. There are many more which I don't know. May you forgive all my sins. And I take the vow of not committing such sins again. You Lord, give me the power, give me the faith, so that I may not involve myself in such lowish activities." This confession type of prayers are very useful. The famous examples, I will give only two. That of Sant Tulsidas and Maharshi Valmiki. In their earlier life, they were ordinary people, not ordinary people. They were less than ordinary people. But the Robert Valya, Valyo Luntaro, he became converted into Maharshi Valmiki. So the two examples of confession prayer by which the ordinary people attain to great heights are Maharshi Valmiki and Sant Tulsidas. Now we pass on to the last 2 points regarding the great champions of prayer. As I said in the beginning, prayer is a universal phenomenon. Prayer, the people who have prayed in their life and brought up their life and attained to great spiritual heights have been recorded in the history, not only the history, in the prehistorical times. I've divided them into three: the ancient ones, the Dhruva and the Prahlada and the Draupadi. All these are in the Indian tradition. I think most of the Indians know them well. Draupadi is well known as Mahasati. Socrates, the great Greek poet and devotee. Samanthabhadracharya and Mantungacharya, they were the great acharyas, Jain acharyas. Through prayers, they have attained to great heights. Mantungacharya is contemporary of Samrat Harshvardhana, the Emperor Harshvardhana of the 7th century of India, the last great emperor of the Hindu tradition in the Indian history. In the medieval times, there are so many, because that time is, in the Indian religious history, it is a time of Santa Parampara, Madhya Yugin Santa Parampara. It's not possible to enumerate them all. Gurudev Nanak comes there, Sant Kabir, Surdas, Mirabai, Narsimha Mehta, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the great Jain poet Anand Maharaj, and the John of the Cross, Saint John of the Cross. Among the modern times, the greatest champion, as is well known, is Mahatma Gandhi. He put the science of prayer not only for the benefit of his personal improvement, but also as an instrument to turn and transform the mind of the greatest empire of the world, the British Empire. And he successfully, transformed their minds. The other champions, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the evangelist Billy Graham, as I understand in this country, has made prayer a very popular form of devotion. Punit Maharaj and Nanchandraji Maharaj have been in India, who have been instrumental in making great strides in millions of people in the western part of India. So these are the great champions. Now, the resultant benefits. Why do we do prayer? If we do prayer, what shall happen to us? Our mind will get purified. That is the first thing. We'll be able to get rid of that tension. We'll be able to get rid of fear. We will become fearless because we have perfect faith in God. When we become selfless, then we will have always an urge to serve our fellow man, aptitude for serving the fellow man. The faith always increases with it. The main advantage why prayer is so very useful in the spiritual practice is to remove the pride, the I-ness, the mindness, the ownership of the worldly objects, and that develops the great nature of humility, which is basic for self-realization. And as byproducts of true prayer, we also get various types of superhuman powers. The Ashtariddhi Siddhi, what you call clairaudience, clairvoyance, telepathy, ability to walk on the fire or to fly in the air. But those are not so very important. The important thing for a true devotee is purification of the heart and his elevation to such a height that he can directly communicate with the divine. And with this, we pass on to the summary. Prayer is the oldest form of communication with the divine. It is found in all religious traditions of the world. It was, it is, and it will remain the form, because that form of devotion which does not require any other external material. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Even if we have nothing, but God will be pleased if we go only with love. Let us therefore all practice this sublime tradition of prayer in our life. It will not only help us to elevate ourselves spiritually, the prayer in the family will produce a congenial atmosphere of purity and mutual regard in the whole town, in the whole society, and at length the whole world will be peaceful, will have regard for other religions, will have better interreligious understanding. There will be less of ideological conflicts, there will be no hatred. And that is why we have all met here in Chicago to help each other, to understand others, and to develop the universal spirit of universal brotherhood. We hope God gives us enough power to accomplish this task of universal brotherhood, universal friendship, and the better interreligious understanding with tolerance for all the faiths. I will pass on to Antamangal. Shanti Shanti Karah Shriman Shanti Dishati Me Guru Shanti Reva Sada Tesham Yesham Shanti Gruhe Gruhe. And there is a very nice 1 minute's recital in which the whole universe is prayed for the overall attitude of everyone. Shri Shramana Sanghasya Shantir Bhavatu Shri Janapadanam Shantir Bhavatu Shri Rajadhipanam Shantir Bhavatu Shri Rajasanniveshanam Shantir Bhavatu Shri Goshtikanam Shantir Bhavatu Shri Pauramukhyanam Shantir Bhavatu Shri Paurajananam Shantir Bhavatu Shri Brahmalokasya Shantir Bhavatu. May peace prevail in every corner of the universe. May all the human beings, all the celestial beings, all the infernal beings, all the animals, insects, all the vegetations, may everyone attain to peace. This is the essence of what I spoke just now. I hope we will all pray this way and elevate ourselves and help in forming the society which will be leading us all to the beatitude of the presently war-feared world, and we will all have a better world for tomorrow. Thank you very much. For questions.
One that we can focus on.
Well, it's not very important from a practical point of view, but Mahavir, means the Jain tradition says every soul is equal and every soul has a potentiality to become and attain to godhood with his own efforts when he follows properly the path of enlightened knowledge, enlightened faith and enlightened conduct under the guidance of a direct spiritual preceptor. So there is not one God who gives salvation or who gives moksha or who sends us to hell or who sends us to heaven. No. We are all responsible for our own tasks, whether mental, vocal or physical. That is the one thing. And the second one is that there is no creator of this universe. There is no one person who has created this universe. It is there and it will remain there, though it will go on changing.
In our Hinduism or Jainism, we call it that Murti Puja or icon or a statue worshipping is a perfect science. Now, can you explain me how you define it? It's a perfect science.
As much as is possible. The images or the idols of the Lord Jina, I don't think we have here, we can project it, we have got a photograph of it. You see, when we look at the Lord, what feelings arise in us? He is the embodiment of perfect knowledge, perfect peace, perfect strength. So we don't approach the Lord or the Murti for getting something. But the science has been put by Acharya Pujapad like this: Vande Tadguna Labdhaye. Oh Lord, I take refuge at your lotus feet in order that I may be able to imbibe the virtues in it. And those virtues are reflected in your idol, in your statue. For those who can understand the Indian languages, अमीय भरी मूर्ति रची रे उपमान घटे कोई शांत सुधारस झीलती रे निरखत तृप्ति न होय विमल जिन दीठा लोयण आज. He who does darshan once with his, not these eyes, but these eyes, God is to be seen with these eyes. These eyes only can see the flesh and blood and skin. But if we get these eyes, so by idol worship, we gradually imbibe the virtues which are of infinite knowledge and infinite bliss and equanimity. The Lord is always equanimous. He is never angry. He is never cruel. He is never unjust. He has no hatred for anything. He has no partiality for anything or anybody. He is the very embodiment of justice, love, bliss and knowledge. If we can adore ourselves such a Lord, I think we will great inspiration from Him, and our life will also be gradually elevated. Of course, it is a slow process. We will have to undergo that period of patience and perseverance and continuity of that.